Hello everyone, welcome back. This video is about the chord variations or CVs in Korg PA series. In this video, I will explain what are the chord variations and how to create styles with chord variations. I will also explain how to handle the situation when you record something in a style, and that is not heard while you play the style. The styles in Korg PA series have elements like the variations, intros, fills, etc., and each of these elements have one or more chord variations inside them. The number of chord variation varies depending on the element. The variations can have up to 6 CVs in them, and the other elements like intros, fills, break, and endings can contain only up to 2 CVs. This is variation 1. It has 6 CVs in it, but all those are empty now. The star symbol means it is empty. When all the CVs are empty, that means the element is empty. This is intro. It has only 2 CVs. The fill has 2 CVs. Same for the break and endings. When we create a style from scratch, even if we don't set the chord variations, by default, we would be recording the patterns in the CV1, which is the first and default chord variation. That means each element will have at least 1 CV. What are these chord variations? They are actually different variants of the pattern in the same element, which would be played based on the chord detected on the arranger. When we create a style element, for example, variation 1, usually the accompaniment tracks would be created with 1 chord. When we play the style, the arranger transposes the notes in the original recording to generate different chord types in different keys. For most of the situations, this would be enough for a style. But sometimes, when the chords are generated from the original recorded notes, the result may not be exactly what we needed. For example, if the original recording in the track is a C major chord with the notes C, E, and G, when we play an F major chord, it would transpose these notes to F, A, and C. It can generate all the triads by transposing these notes. But if we play a 7th chord which has 4 notes, there is a challenge. For C7th, it needs to have C, E, G, and B flat. For F7th, it should be F, A, C, and E flat. But the original recording has only 3 notes, so it will generate the 7th chord with just 3 notes. So for generating a C7th chord, it can either use C, E, and B flat. For F7th, it could be F, A, and E flat. G7th could be G, B, and F. The same challenge would be there for other 4-note chords too. For a C6th chord, it needs C, E, G, and A. But it will be C, E, and A. But this is actually an A minor chord. Since there are only 3 notes in the original recording, 1 note needs to be skipped, and that will be used for the 4th note in the chord. Here, the 5th in the chord is skipped and used as the 7th note. So in this way, instead of 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th for the 7th chord, it would skip the 5th, and that note would be transposed to 7th, and the result would be 1st, 3rd, and 7th. This formation depends on the NTT setting. Here, the NTT type is parallel and NTT table is 5th. This means the 5th from the original chord would be used to form a 4-note chord. If we change it to root, it would skip the root from the original chord. So with this setting, the C7th chord would be E, G, and B flat. The root note C would not be there. But this is actually an E diminished chord. For F7th, it would be A, C, and E flat, which is originally an A diminished chord. G7th would be B, D, and F. I have already made a detailed video on the NTT settings. I will give the link to that in the description if you want to watch it. When we face this challenge with the 4-note chords, One solution is to record the original chord as a 4-note chord, maybe C major 7th. Once we record it in this way, while playing a C major in the style, it will be generated as C, E, G, and C in the next octave. C 6th would be C, E, G, and A. C minor would be C, E flat, G, and C in the next octave. C 7th would be C, E, G, and B flat. F 7th would be F, A, C, and E flat. This will result in the triads also with 4 notes. But what if we need the triads in 3 notes and the 7th with 4 notes? This is when we can use chord variations. I will now demonstrate how to do that. I will create a new style and then explain how to make CVs from that. Let us start with the drum patterns. Now the bass track. The accompaniment track with a basic piano chord in C major. Now, a guitar track. Now I will create another chord variation. We don't need to create it from scratch. We can copy the CV1 to CV2 and edit only the tracks we need to modify. We can copy it from the Style Copy menu. We are copying from the CV1 of Variation 1 to CV2 of Variation 1. So the source should be V1 CV1 and the destination should be V1 CV2. We need to copy all the tracks, so selecting all. It's copied. Now selecting CV2. The same patterns from CV1 are here now. I'm going to edit the piano and guitar track. In the piano track, it has C major chord with C, E, and G. I'm going to make it C 7th, adding B flat to it. Correcting the level of the new note. Now we need to set the source chord to C 7th. This setting is important. We need to set the correct key and chord type in the tracks. Now for the guitar track, I will delete the existing pattern and record a different one, a little different from the original pattern in CV1. This is also in C7th. We can use another chord type for this track if needed, maybe C major 7th. That means each tracks can have different chords in them, but the key and chord settings should match the exact recording. CV2 is ready. Let us listen to the style now. It is still playing the CV1 for all chord types. This is because we need to set which CV to play on which chord type. It is in the chord table menu. This setting is used to play the CV based on the chord type selected on the keyboard. By default, all chord types have CV1. That is why it was playing CV1 for all the chords even after we created CV2. I am setting CV2 for the 7th chords. We'll set it for the 6th as well. Now it is playing the CV2 for the 7th chords. CV1 is used for major and minor chords. I will create one more chord variation, copying CV1 to CV3. Selecting CV3. This will be for minor chords. I am leaving the piano track as it is. It has C major. It can perfectly convert it to a minor chord, so no need to touch it. Even the guitar track can generate the minor chord accurately, but we will have a little different pattern for the minor chords in this track. Setting CV3 for minor and diminished chords. The minor chords are not played correctly. I forgot to set the chord type in the track. Let me correct it. This was recorded in C minor, setting it to minor. Now 3 different patterns are played for major, minor, and 7th chords. We are still in variation 1, but we have 3 different patterns in it. This is how to create chord variations. Now let me show you another thing. This should have happened to a lot of people when editing an existing style. You record something into a variation or some other element, but the new pattern you recorded is not getting played when you play the style. I will show you how to fix this. I am selecting a factory style to edit. Going to Style Creator. I will record something in this track. It is in C major, so we need to set the key and chord to C major. Now the style has the new pattern. Let me play it in the preview mode. The new pattern is not heard. This is one of the common confusions for many people. This is happening because there are multiple chord variations in this element, and we recorded the pattern in only one of the CVs. It is in CV1. Here, major chord is mapped to CV2. I recorded the new pattern only in CV1, so it will not be heard when we play a major chord. As you can see here, CV1 is mapped to minor chord. So, if we play a minor chord, we can hear the new pattern. Now it is playing with the minor chord. I will copy the new pattern to CV2. It is in accompaniment 5 track, so only that track needs to be copied. Now both the CVs have the new pattern. This element has only 2 CVs. So this will be fine. If you have more CVs, you would need to copy it to all the CVs. Now the pattern works fine in all the chords. This is the chord variation settings. I hope it is clear and helpful. Let me know your feedback in the comments and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.